Unexplained, oh, unexplained, oh, unexplained, oh, unexplained, oh. First of all, why is it so cold in spring? It's just me. I really thought my fireplace was done for the season. No. As you can see, it's over there doing its thing. And I ain't mad at it. I love the warmth. I love it. And I love just the look of it. I love real fire, fake fire. Like I love the fire pits. I don't know. There's just something so beautiful about it. So it's been a little while. So I just wanted to say hi and wanted to talk about a few things. How are things going with you? Feel free to, leave a comment to let me know how things are going with you. I wanted to share some updates about my health journey and whatever else comes to mind. These are just my off the dome thoughts. And it's also an exercise in me being visible because for a long time I've wanted to be invisible. So these videos help me with that. So recently I shared a little about my story on my Facebook page um, in terms of my health journey. And we all have a story. We all have reasons why we do the things we do. We can often look back and pinpoint how something started, at least if we ask the questions. And I'm the older I get, the more questions I have. I think when I was younger, I just kind of went with the flow, whether I understood things or not. And now, as I'm getting older, I find that I want to ask more questions. I want to understand more. And also, I have enough knowledge to know that I'm not going to understand everything. And truly, that's also where faith comes in. So, let me see if I can give you just a condensed version so that if you don't know me, you'll understand a little bit more. When I was younger, I didn't have a problem with my weight at all. Um, I, even still, I kind of had this mindset that I was always like not fit or not like like healthy. I don't know. Like I was never like when I was coming up, I wasn't like into healthy stuff. Like, we were watching something, my husband and I, we were watching something the other day and um I could see honey buns. Now, I'm sure honey buns are still out there, but like back in the day, a honey bun could do you right. Like that was breakfast. I don't even know if they're good anymore, but I know back in the day, a honey bun, that was the thing. Honey buns, chips, Linden. There's a brand called Linden, and it's still out there. And you know, I'm sure I could find it in my hometown, but I don't see it widespread. But Linden made these butter crunch cookies. Whew, just off the chain, off the chain. And, I had them years later, and they were still good, but they weren't. Nothing's like it used to be. Well, I won't say nothing, but a lot of things are not like they used to be. But those butter crunch cookies were like, I keep telling myself that I should like get in the kitchen and try to figure that out, right? And then I think to myself, no, if you figure that out, it's gonna be on. Like you're gonna be making butter crunch cookies, but you gotta enjoy life. Is this stuff falling behind me? You gotta enjoy life. You gotta enjoy life. Um, so I wasn't the healthiest. I liked the snacks. I liked the candy. Back in the day, my mom was a big candy person too, big sweets person. So she was no help. My dad was a chef. I mean, he really put it down in the kitchen. So, like, I came up with like a love of like food and sweets and things of that nature. So, when you're younger, you can get away with a whole lot. And then when you get older and your body begins to change and you start hearing words like metabolism, hormones, all of that, everything starts changing. But still, I didn't really start picking up weight until I think like I started picking up some weight. I might have been college. Yeah. The freshman 15 was a real thing to me. I think I packed on the freshman 20, really. And that was just you in college now. You ordering pizzas, you laying around, yeah, fast food, yeah. Uh Dining hall, I had a meal plan, you could go and get what you wanted. So yeah, I remember going down to uh the dining hall and like you could really get an omelet every day if you wanted to, like cheese eggs and pancakes and biscuits and sausage and bacon for breakfast. Like you could really get that every day. And so as a young person, you're you got like a little taste of freedom. You're like, I can eat fries, I can eat french fries every day. Well, it starts catching up to you. You start feeling bad, and you start thinking, well, maybe I need some green in my life. So then, we had a pretty decent salad bar at my school. So you can make you a salad. But anyway, yeah, I started kind of having some issues with weight in college, but not because I felt like life was stressful or anything. It was just me being a glutton. I have a gluttonous vein in my body, and so yeah. But my real weight gain came later in life, and it came as a reaction to just some hard things that I was dealing with. And the number one hard thing was my mom getting diagnosed with dementia of the Alzheimer's type. Yeah, that changed a lot for me. And I don't even think it was a conscious decision to just, gain weight and start eating. And I think it just kind of gradually snuck up on me because there was a certain sadness and depression in there about my best friend going through this. And I felt powerless against it. And so I began to medicate with food, and I wasn't really paying attention. And I remember, so my mom was diagnosed in, if my mind serves me correctly, 2011. And like I didn't, just like balloon up like overnight or anything, but it was gradual. And I remember that I delivered a message at my home church, and it was called Where Are You? I actually have it on this channel. And in my remarks, I remember saying, yeah, so if you haven't seen me in a while, it's probably the heaviest you've ever seen me. And I was talking about fig leaves and the things that we put on ourselves to hide, right? And one of the things that I was putting on myself to hide was weight. I wanted to hide. I wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to feel the things that I was feeling. I didn't know how to process things. And so, I was eating and overeating and choosing the wrong foods and, being lazy, like not moving around, just kind of there. And when you are in that pattern, it's a pattern for destruction. And you get there by inches. You rarely just get there like boom overnight. It's like inches, inches. Scale starts creeping up, your appearance changes. And I went from being I never would have called myself a fashionista. I liked clothes. I liked to look good. I liked to pick certain things, and I had a certain style about me, but I wasn't a fashionista with like 50 pairs of shoes and all that. I'm still not into that. But I made an effort. I'll put it like that. I made an effort, and the heavier I got, the less I wanted to make an effort. And I began to just opt for what's comfortable because that's what I cared about, my comfort. And so if the jeans were too tight, I got a bigger size. It wasn't like, "Oh, these jeans are too tight. Maybe I need to lose some weight." I'm like, "Nah, just get a bigger size. It's all good." And so I went through that pattern for many years. My mother my mother passed in 2020, so that dementia journey was a long 9 years. And in that 9 years, I definitely did a lot of damage to my body to the point where I, you know, had hypertension. I needed medication. I had swollen feet and ankles. Like, I remember crying because, when you walk and you flex your foot, you're flexing your foot, I had so much fluid up at the top, just under my toes, that when I would flex my foot, it would hurt. So trying to go upstairs or just walking, it hurt. And I remember sitting in my office crying, like, how did I get here? How do I get out of this? And it seemed like such a huge hill to climb. Like, how do I get out of this? And so I remember one day going up the steps and I literally had to recover for like 20 minutes. I'm sitting in my office, breathing all hard, sweating like all I did was come up the steps. I'm like, I need to make some changes or I'm not going to be here. So I decided that I was going to try to get 15 minutes of activity a day. And I started doing that. And I missed a lot of days, but in my mind, I was like, I'm going to try. And I started doing that. And I think that was the beginning. And we talking 2020. Yeah. I said 15 minutes a day, I'm going to start doing something. And so I would do like these little 15-minute walking. That's when I started. You can look her up on YouTube, Leslie Sansone. That's when I started my Leslie Sansone. I think her program was called like Walk Away the Weight or Walk Away the Pounds. And she have these 15-minute workouts, walking workouts, and I would do those, and I'd be struggling. And I didn't always make it to the end, but I would always feel like at least I tried. And then I was walking before that. Don't get me wrong, because there was a whole period where I didn't have a car, and I was hoofing it. I was hoofing it, and I would be struggling. It just wasn't comfortable. I didn't enjoy walking because it just felt so hard to do. And I was forced to because I didn't have a car. So it wasn't like a choice I was making. Like, I want to walk to the store. I gotta walk to the store, because Uber and all that stuff adds up. It's expensive. And of course, you know, the bus, but sometimes you just want to go where you want to go and you don't want to do the transfers and you don't want to sit and wait in the bus stop and then you go to the subway and it's a lot. So, yeah. For 2020, I started really thinking I need to do something. And I also began to think I need a change of scenery. I need a change of scenery. I really wanted more nature around me. I wanted to see mountains. I wanted to see trees. I wanted to see water every single day, right from where I lived. I didn't want to travel to it. I wanted to be surrounded by it. And I prayed that prayer. I was like, Lord, please take me to my land of milk and honey. Like, I want to see these things and I want to walk in these areas daily. And he answered that prayer. And I prayed that prayer, I think sometime in 2020, because it had to be sometime in 2020 because I wasn't going to go anywhere while my mom was going through what she was going through. I didn't want to go, I don't want to be far from her. I wanted to be able to see her, visit her. The last years of her life, she was between assisted living and nursing home when we just couldn't care for her at home anymore. So she was so active. Oh my gosh. Like my mom would be up for days at a time. Mm. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. So let me hone in. God answered that prayer through a program called Ascend West Virginia. And so I moved to West Virginia, my husband and I am surrounded by the very things that I prayed for. And to honor, what God gave me, I walk in these surroundings every day. If I'm not walking, I'm probably sick or like my body is hurting or something. But I would say 95% of the time I'm outside walking. And I prefer to be outside walking. I can do a treadmill if I need to, but I just feel like I'm just not going anywhere. It's just not exciting to me. So I can do treadmill, but I prefer to be outside. And so fast forward a couple of years, because even though I got here and I did start walking, I was haphazard with it at first, and I was still doing a lot of eating and a lot of just not great behaviors. And one thing I will say is that I got off of high blood pressure medication. But you know what got my attention? My doctor said I was going to be on high blood pressure medication for the rest of my life. And that did not sit right with me. I was like, what? No. He said, yeah, yeah, this is your life now. I'm like, hmm. So he wasn't my doctor anymore because I just wasn't feeling that. And I started doing some research and I learned about, things that God has already given us that naturally lower blood pressure. But, outside of consuming things, how you manage your stress, walking, physical activity, all of these things contribute. Drinking water, all of these things contribute to making sure that you have a good blood pressure, your vitamin D level, your magnesium level. All of these things matter. So I began to learn more, and now, I'm not on medication, thank God. And I'm not against medication, don't get me wrong. It's just that anytime somebody tells me, like, this is your life, I need more answers first before I accept that. So I do recognize that there are some medications that allow you to sustain life. So I'm thankful for medicine, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like in that situation, that was not the end of the story. And I wanted to learn more and understand what happens when, my pressure rises. What is my heart doing? What is this medicine doing to my heart? Is it fooling my heart and, into thinking everything is okay? Like, but my heart still has this issue or, so anyway, that was a personal journey and I decided to make that change and, you know, no longer be on high blood pressure, hypertension medication. But I want to say that it took me all the way until January 2024 to really get serious. I just did not feel good in my body and I wasn't honoring the temple that God gave me. So I decided that I was going to walk 1 mile a day. This is January 2024. I'm going to walk 1 mile a day every day. And I felt like I should choose 1 mile because I could do it. I felt like if I said 2, 3, I would struggle and then give up because that's what I do. I'd be like, ugh. So I decided to start with 1 mile a day. And I struggled with that mile. I struggled with that mile. I used to go out and walk and walk and walk and walk. And I'd be like, whew. And I look down and it'd be like zero point 0.2 miles. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I kept at it. And I kept at it and I kept at it. And I got stronger in that 1 mile, stronger and stronger. And then one day I saw this challenge to walk 100 miles in June. This was the beginning of things turning around because I had been lamenting to my brother, my oldest brother. I was like, I'm walking 1 mile a day. I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And I ain't losing no weight. And around that time, I was almost 300 pounds. I was almost 300 pounds. I was at 292.7. And when you on a weight loss journey, you know the point. I was 292 pounds. I was 292.7. And I said, wow, yeah, I can't go to 3. I can't go to 3. I cannot see 3 anything. So that's what prompted the 1 mile a day. So doing this 1 mile, really trying to eat better. And that scale was like, and and I was like, dang, like what do I have to do? I took that 100 miles in June challenge, and that was hard because instantly I ramped up from doing 1 mile a day to a minimum of 3.33. And that would have been if I did that every single day, you know, to get to the 100. But some days I didn't do that much and I do 1.5 and then so I had to overcompensate and I had to do 4 on this day. I was all over the place. But fought. I fought for that. Let me see if I can show it to you. I fought for that. Let me see. Let me go. I'm sure it'll let me go back a year. Let's see. Month. All right. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's go back to June 2024. All right. So let me tell you something. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I don't know how good this is looking. It looks kind of blurry, but maybe you can see that I did 100.21 miles. I just hit my goal. And I'm thinking, man, let me get on this scale because I know. My body was like, and and I remember I called my brother. I was like, I can't believe it. I walked 100 miles in June. I never did that before. And the scale was like, it was moving, but it was like 0.2, 0.4. And I was just like, oh. I think after that 100-mile challenge, I think I was around 280, like the high 280s. Like I had just hadn't really budged. And then we talking like 6 months. And I had been walking and I had been eating better. Somewhere in there, I adopted no seconds because I always had seconds, especially if I like something. I would have seconds and I would have dessert. Like I grew up in a dessert family, something sweet after the meals. I'd have ice cream or cake or pie or candy bar or something. Like this was my life. So I'm like, I didn't gave up the dessert after the meal. I'm not over it. And my brother was like, don't give up. Keep going. And I'm like, that's what you got to say. That's your pep talk. That's it. That's what you going to say to me. I was like, but it was the best thing he could have said to me. Because I rolled up my sleeves and I was like, I can't stop. There's no way I made all these sacrifices for the past 6 months and I'm just going to stop now because I don't look the way I want to look. I don't feel the way I want to feel. I got to keep going. And listen, somewhere in July, I was like, God, help me. Help me to stay focused. Help me to keep going because I don't want to. Somewhere in July of 2024, everything changed. I can't pinpoint the day. All I know is I started losing weight. And when I say started losing weight, and it was slow, but it wasn't as slow as before because remember, I'd be losing point 0.2, point 0.1. I'm like, I started losing like a pound and 2 pounds and 3 pounds and a pound and a half pound. And so that made me feel like, okay, we got something going here. So I kept going and I kept going. And it was less about how many miles a day I did, but get out here and move. And as a result, 3 miles a day became my baseline. So I started out in January with 1 mile a day. Now 3 miles a day was my baseline. I could easily do 3 miles a day. And so then I started to push. Let's do 4, let's do 5. And that's not my baseline yet. Like my average daily miles is 3 now. Some days I do 4 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles. I've done 7, but for the most part, 3. That's my new baseline. And what I said to myself last year is in 2025, I wanted 5 miles to be my baseline. And so as I continue to walk, as I continue to improve my health level, I just know, God willing, I'm still here December of this year. 5 miles a day will be my baseline. I feel that. It's coming. It's loading. But I started losing weight, y'all. And I'm telling you, when you start seeing results from something, it makes you, it gives you hope and you start pressing harder. And so one thing I've learned about myself is I cannot overcrowd what I'm doing. So for the longest time, it was really just about walking. And so now I'm slowly adding stuff in. So I now use the recumbent bike and I've started using free weights. And I've been now throughout this, which I failed to mention, throughout this whole process, even when I was like before mom passed, I was doing bar. So if you don't know about bar, the best way to describe it is it's like combining ballet and Pilates. That's like the best way I can describe it. Very slow, controlled movements, no jumping around and all that because my knees. So I was doing things, I was sewing to my health, and then it all started to come together. So here I am now closing in on almost 40 pounds lost. And that feels good. And I did not get here by leaps and bounds. I got here by inches. And I always say sometimes centimeters. So if you if you lasted this long, because this is a long word from Robyn, I shared all of that to say your thing may not be weight, but whatever your thing is that you've been putting off, take the inches, my friend, take the centimeters, like move in that direction. Because you know that story, the tortoise and the hare? Listen, the tortoise just kept going. And he wasn't as fast as the hare, but he kept advancing. And he ended up winning that race because he was consistent. The hare was doing a whole lot. I can't remember all of the story, but I feel like he was doing stuff like taking naps, stopping and getting something to drink, smelling the flowers. Like he was like, this tortoise ain't never gonna beat me. Matter of fact, I think he was sleeping. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to revisit that story. I think he was sleeping when the tortoise. No, I think I gotta go back and revisit that story. I think he saw the tortoise crossing the line and he was like, oh my goodness. I think he might have been taking a nap or something. But look, don't take a nap on yourself. Don't take a nap on your goals, your dreams, your plans. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, don't take a nap on it. Get to it by the inches. If you're creating things, if you're painting, making music, writing poetry, writing books, whatever, do it by inches. I don't have time. Set 15. That's why I started this channel. For all them people tell me, I don't have time. 15 minutes. If you can't carve 15 minutes out of your day to do something that's going to bless you, I don't know what you're doing. You can even break it up into 3 5-minute sessions, but you can do it. If you watch TV, I know you can do it. You can give up one of them shows and have 20-some minutes. Give up one of them shows. But take it by inches and watch how it multiplies. Watch how it grows. And then you have this sense of accomplishment. And you know what you want to do? The same thing I'm doing right now. You want to tell people. Because you want people to be out of that pit. When you start coming out of that pit, you want other people coming out of that pit. You be like, look, come out that pit. Here's how. Here's how you come out that pit. By inches, by centimeters. All right. I don't have anything else to say. I hope that blessed you. It blessed me by sharing it. It did. It blessed me by sharing it. Taking away the shame of, what I had done to my body, how I had not honored God in the temple that he gave me, how I would look in the mirror and be like, what have you done? Anyway, I'm working on me inside and out, and I'm loving the journey. Till next time, you are the best part of Unexplained Peace. Come on back. Hang out. Put on one of those 15-minute videos and think about what you want to do with your life. All right, bye.